Good morning, everyone. It is Monday, August 31st, the last day of August, as September is upon us. I know we haven't been in this format for a while. Thankfully, Baruch Hashem, our family, we were able to get away for a little bit and to relax and recover. And today is a remarkable day for a number of reasons. First of all, our children went back to school, and that's a big deal. Almost first time in almost 6 months. And I have to give a tremendous amount of credit to the Hanhala, the administration, the lay leadership, and everyone over at Joseph Kushner Hebrew Academy, Ray Kushner Yeshiva High School, and really going above and beyond and making sure that our children are in a safe environment, and they realize how important it is for our kids to be with other kids and in that learning environment. And again, we look forward to a very successful school year, and as well as all the other schools that will be starting up, especially considering that our district, our public school district, is going to be doing remote learning only. So it's really we're super thankful and very lucky in that regard. So all those who are starting school today or starting school next week, we wish you much hatzlacha. Also, a momentous day in the world of Jewish history, as I'm sure many of you have watched the footage just a short time ago, how the first flight from Israel to the United Arab Emirates, flying over some hostile countries, or what were hostile, and this remarkable peace agreement, and seeing an El Al plane landing in the Emirates is really something. And let's hope that this is the harbinger of more peace to come, and perhaps a new world outlook. And it's something that is quite welcome, as certainly we could use a lot of good news these days. We are really well into our planning for Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. I know that pretty much everyone was reached out to, and almost everyone answered the survey or told us what their plans are. You'll be receiving just sort of a second reminder request to give us your exact numbers, because we now have a better idea of how we're going to run Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. And but it really depends on the numbers. We can't have somebody just saying, just showing up with somebody, because we're going to have designated numbers, seating, etc. And that's something that takes a lot of planning on our part, so we're going to need a lot of cooperation on your part. The sponsor for our video today is someone that you probably don't know or haven't heard of. I have a very dear friend, Alex Yusupov. So Taisa and Alex have been friends of ours for many years, and they live in Atlantic Beach. They were congregants of ours in Atlantic Beach, but have since become not congregants but close family friends. You will have seen them at our simchas. Alex is a regular at our Pesach Seder that we have for the men's club, and he's just one of those individuals who knows how to be a good friend. And he's the one that always says good Shabbos to you before you have a chance to say good Shabbos to him. And today marks the Shloshim for Alex's mother, Alaha Shalom, Zoya Yusupov, Zocha Basav Shalom. So again, today marks the Shloshim, and I had the unique privilege to be able to officiate over her Levaya exactly a month ago. And it really was a privilege, and I'm going to explain why, because I have to tell you her story. And let me frame her story in perhaps the form of a Devar Torah, as we find ourselves in the month of Elul. And in the month of Elul, as we prepare for Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. And hopefully it involves a tremendous amount of introspection. A time in which we sort of examine our own deeds, we look at ourselves. The word lahit palel is reflexive. When we say we daven, we're actually almost like talking or looking at ourselves. And Elul requires of us this deep introspection as we stand in judgment before our Maker. And we'll often question our self-worth. Like, have I really lived up to my potential? Have I really produced? Have I really sort of impressed my Maker? Have I really fulfilled my potential? What can one person really do in this world? So let me tell you what one person can do in this world. And this is the story of Zoya Yusupov, Zechrona Livracha. I don't know how many of you get around to Sheepshead Bay, and there you have obviously a large Jewish population, a large Russian Jewish population, and there are monuments there marking the Holocaust. But there's a monument in Sheepshead Bay, and not too long ago, maybe within the last 15 years, a stone was marked out marking a place that you probably didn't hear, a place called Bogdanovka. Bogdanovka. And let me tell you the story of Bogdanovka. So I'm reading you from an article that was published when the monument was dedicated. So the village of Bogdanovka was a Jewish collective farm among the huge collectives of the fertile Stavropol region near the Caucasian Mountains. Stavropol, besides being the breadbasket of Russia, was also the birthplace of Nobel Prize winning author Solzhenitsyn and first president of the USSR, Mikhail Gorbachev, among other notables. Small as it was, the village was efficient and productive and considered a model farm. In 1943, only women, children, and old men inhabited Bogdanovka because all males of military age were enlisted in the battle against Nazi Germany. Utilizing as cruel and demonic a ruse as can be imagined, the Nazis gathered the 472 residents of the town together on Yom Kippur that year, ostensibly to commemorate the holiday. So the villagers thought that the Nazis were getting them together so they could pray. Instead, every one of the elderly men and women, mothers, infants, and children were thrown alive into an abandoned well by the Nazis and their collaborators. Only 2 young children managed to escape into the woods. So out of 472 residents, most of the men were off in battle. Only 2 children escaped. However, there was one other survivor. The other survivor was Zoya Yusupov. You see, Zoya had just gotten married, but her husband was sent off to battle, and she was actually pregnant with her first child. And she went to be with her in-laws. It wasn't until much later that she heard of the massacre and that her entire family, parents, everybody, all relatives were wiped out. She also learned later that her husband was killed in battle. So a young mother, pregnant with her first child, and lost everything. She survived the war, she remarried, she had 4 more children, 2 sons, 2 daughters, eventually came to the United States. And in her mid-90s, when she was buried last month, she lived to see not only children born, not only grandchildren born, not only great-grandchildren born, but 2 weeks before she died, she was able to see the nachas of not her first, but her second great-great-grandchild. She was zocha to see 5 generations together. So if you ever ask yourself, what can one person do? Well, one person do, and she felt it was her mission her whole life, to sort of resurrect the village that was taken, and all the names that were given, and look at all the descendants that she produced. People who are God-fearing Jews, people who are community leaders, people who are pious, generous, really chesed-performing Jews, and people who show the enemies of our community and the enemies of the world that hate will never, ever endure, and that we have a long-term view, we have the perseverance, we have the persistence to make sure that we can make a difference. So today, on the Shloshim, Zocha Bas Avshalom, who, in my mind, and I had the privilege to meet her several times at all the family simchas, and she was just always so happy to be able to bring in and see the nachas that she had from her family, most of whom lived very, very close by all the time, and the respect that was bestowed upon her and the honor that was given to her by her family is something that is really remarkable, and it's something that's admirable, something that we should all aspire to. So if during these days of Elul, you're asking yourself, what difference can I make? Think of Zoya Yusupov, Zichron Livracha. One person created 5 generations when everything was taken. We can do the same, and we don't have to live through a tragedy like that. But think about what you can contribute, what you can give to your children, what you can give to your grandchildren, what you can give to your great-grandchildren by leading by example. Alex, Thaisa, and their whole family, Alex's brother, Alex's sisters, Alex's other brother, they all really embody this value. And I'm privileged to have a friend like Alex, and I'm privileged to be sort of an honorary member of their family as Alex is an honorary member of ours. So may the neshama of Zocha Bas Avshalom, may she have an aliyah, and Alex and Thaisa, may you continue to see nachas from your children and your grandchildren. We should celebrate simchas together. And everyone who's watching this, let's remember that, you know what, there is what that we can each do as an individual. One should never think that those gates are ever, ever closed. So again, it's good to be back here. I hope everybody has a great, successful back to school as we head into the end of season. And we look forward to great things happening here at Eitz Chaim and in the Jewish community in general. Have a great day.